Alrighty, gang. A new season of Game of Thrones is right around the corner, so let's kick it off right. You guys asked some terrific questions, and here are my answers. Okay, first up is Johnny Stevens with a whole bunch of questions. He says, do you care about the show anymore? Yeah, I do care about the show. I think it has a lot of problems, but I care about it because it's an adaptation of my favorite book series, and for better or for worse, it's gonna be the only adaptation of the main story we're gonna get for now, I think. Jon and Daenerys are going to fuck. I think we pretty much know that, do we? But do you think there could be a child that could possibly be the next king? I don't know, did the show even tackle her whole infertility thing? I can't remember. I guess it would be possible, but I don't know, I kinda don't think so. Do you think they will make Arya a good character again, or will they just go where they left off? See, I don't know, I actually think Arya is one of the better characters adapted from the books, so I don't know, I mean, I think out of a lot of the characters, she's doing pretty well. Where do you think Jaime's character arc will go? I think he's gonna and ah for a bit, and then I think eventually Cersei is gonna do something that he feels goes just too far, and then he'll end up killing her, but I don't know, I've always maintained that I think that they'll die together in some way, but that's more of a hunch than anything backed up in fact, so I don't know. And do you love me? I do, Johnny Stevens. I do. Next up is Westeros Will. Do you think that Jon's parentage storyline will be, for the most part, the same in the books as it is in the show? Yeah, I think it will be. Thomas Levy says, please give us your death predictions for Season 7. Ooh, you know what, I actually think this season will be pretty light on at least main character deaths. We might see some side characters like Grey Worm or Robin Arryn die, but I think if they're gonna kill off big people like Cersei, then they'll probably save it as a big final season thing. Alice says, were you in the army or some form of military? No. I have a variety of mental health issues, so that's a field that I would not excel in at all. I have a lot of respect for people who do that work, though. I think it's extremely tough. Nathaniel Smith says, who is Azor Ahai? You know what? For a long time I really maintained that it was Tyrion, but I think Azor Ahai is actually going to be one of those things where it's sort of up to the reader to decide. Like, I don't think that any sort of big force is going to come down and, like, wave a magic wand and, you know, be like, this person is definitely Azor Ahai. And I know a lot of people would hate that, but I think it adds a lot of mystery to it, so. Who will ride Rhaegal and Viserion? I think Rhaegal and Viserion are gonna bite it before they get riders. I actually think Drogon's gonna die too, but I think Daenerys will ride him for a bit first. Who could Daenerys marry besides Jon? You know, if she does end up queen, I kinda hope that she pulls, like, an Elizabeth I and doesn't marry anybody. But there are a few people, for sure. Who will sit on the Iron Throne? Probably Sansa. Mortis von Nassau? I'm sure I'm really butchering your name, I'm sorry. What do you think? Is there any chance that Cersei will win the war and be the queen till the end? No, I don't. I think that she has to die. Jaehaerys Targaryen asked, how do you feel about Preston Jacobs? And if you're familiar with it, how do you feel about his post-apocalyptic wasteland theory about A Song of Ice and Fire? I'm not sure I agree with his theory in that video, because I think that if Martin wanted to do a post-apocalyptic setting, he wouldn't hide it. Like, I think he would make the clues more obvious, or even have it as, like, an outright part of the story. I do like Preston's videos, though. He's very creative, and he comes up with stuff that I definitely would never think of. Miss Arsenal 18X. Hey Danzie, so glad you're making videos again. Thanks, I am too. Question, do you think Dany feels a bit too self-entitled? Yes, I do, but I think she's deliberately written that way. If she wasn't at least somewhat entitled, she would just stay in Essos, and that would kind of be it. Dean McKinney, question, if you could bring back one show character, who would it be and why? I think Viserys, because I really loved Harry Lloyd's acting, and I don't know, he was just an absolute joy to watch, and I think he could have brought a lot to spice up Daenerys' storyline. Andrew Blake asks, was Cersei's black-haired beauty a lie she told Catelyn, or was it the truth? Because Maggie the Frog said Cersei would have 3 children, all blonde. Or was this a simple oversight on the show's behalf? Oh, I think they totally just forgot about that scene. Anyone who says she was purposefully lying is giving the writers way too much credit. Like, I think they wanted to give her a scene to make her look sympathetic, and then ignored it once it didn't suit the rest of their story. I wouldn't be surprised if they lampshaded it as a lie, though, who knows. What is your favorite part of Oreos? What is your favorite part of Arya's storyline? I liked a lot of her stuff in A Clash of Kings. That was really good. Who's the best king in the War of Five Kings? I know who, but I just want to hear you say Stannis. Yeah, it is Stannis, but I like Renly a lot too, and Rob's okay. I'm currently reading A Song of Ice and Fire and have seen the show. I'm debating whether to switch to audiobooks, since that'd give me more time to read and or listen to them. As an avid fan of the books, do you think hearing them will hurt my experience from the books? You know what? Unless you really only have time to listen in the car or something, I'd recommend reading the printed version. The reason I say this is because it's a lot easier to stop and reference the character index and map in the front and back of the books. And those are going to be really important tools for understanding and getting the most out of the story. Dylan Johnson says, do you think Euron can be saved in the show? I personally don't think he can or will. Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. I haven't been a big fan of him so far. What prequel stories would you like to see HBO adapt? Also, what is your favorite video game? I mean, I'd be good with anything as long as it's done well, like Robert's Rebellion, The Blackfires, Aegon's Conquest, or maybe like an animated series of the Age of Heroes would be cool too. And my favorite video game? I think I actually want to make a top 10 list about my favorite video games, so you'll know soon enough at some point. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch lately though, that's been pretty fun. Brobarb says, what character do you want to see on the Iron Throne? Sansa would be cool. But I think as long as it's not Daenerys or Jon, I'll be happy, because I think that would be kind of boring, personally. Jaybird Jetwings, do you know your Myers-Briggs personality type? I do! I'm an ENTP. I'm really glad you asked that, actually, because I was thinking of making a Myers-Briggs video on the characters from the series. Because even though I'm not sure how much stock I put in it scientifically, I think it makes an amazing jumping-off point for character studies, so... Let me know in the comments if it's something you guys want to see, because it's something I'd be really interested in making. In your opinion, who has the best characterization on the show? A lot of the Season 1 characters, like Ned was really good, Robert was really good, Viserys was good. The characters that didn't make it out of the earlier seasons, they were all pretty good. Hugo Sales, question, why nobody did something when Euron confessed to killing the king? I honestly don't know. I think they wanted him to come off as so cocky he didn't care who knew, but they kind of forgot that kinslaying even in the Iron Islands is a huge taboo. Couldn't think of a name. Favorite A Song of Ice and Fire related groups or pages if you're in any or have any followed. Yeah, the fandomentals.com has some amazing stuff on Game of Thrones. Check out their book Snob Glossary. It's so brutal towards the show, but it's so funny. Top 10 favorite characters of all time. Man. Okay, well, in no particular order, Theon, Catelyn, Sansa, Jaime, Robert, Stannis, and Renly. How many is that? So that's 7. I don't know, this is too hard for me, I can't answer that. There's too many characters that I love. Future projects you're working on. Well, let's see, I've mentioned a few things so far. The Season 7 episode reviews are going to be the next big thing, and somewhere in there is going to be another Westeros Brawls, but I'm still deciding on who it's going to be. I was thinking the other day that there hasn't been a lot of female characters in a while, but it depends on what you guys want to see. What do you do in real life? Listen, couldn't think of a name. I'm a simple woman, okay? Like, I see a Baratheon video on YouTube, I hit like. That's all you need to know about what I do, okay? Jonathan Jameson, how big is your dick? Jonathan, you might not know this, but my dick is so huge, it transcends space and time. The alternative, of course, is that I'm a woman and don't have a penis, but, I mean, that couldn't possibly be right? JSizzle124, what are your fears for Season 7? I'm worried about Euron not being a strong enough villain, and Cersei not really having anywhere left to go as a villain, and it's going to make the conflict almost non-existent until we get to the White Walkers. Which mysteries do you want answered? I think I'd like to know what it is the others want, because I don't think it's as simple as them just being evil for the sake of it. There has to be more going on there. Dimitri Davis, tell us about yourself. What are your hobbies and other interests other than A Song of Ice and Fire? Are you from the US or somewhere else? Is YouTube your primary source of income, or do you have another job? Let's see. I'm from Canada. I love video games. I do HEMA, which is Historical European Martial Arts. I'd love for YouTube to be my primary source of income, because it means I could do it more. I love Coke Zero. Oh god. In fact, Coca-Cola, if you're listening, I would love a sponsorship deal. Like, I don't even want money. Just give me Coke Zero. Like, I need it. I need it! Next question. Greta Garbo asked, wow, the Greta Garbo? I didn't know that you had a YouTube account and became not dead. Anyways, if you had to choose, what is your main criticism of the show? My main criticism of the show is that in recent seasons, it's showed a lack of understanding for its source material. And I know that's gonna make me come off as a whiny book snob, but I really feel that if you're gonna make an adaptation, you owe it to the series whose success you piggybacked off of, to make sure that all the same themes, major characterizations, and, I don't know, I guess just the original heart and intelligence are still present. Max Musterman, Dance of Dragons, black or green? Probably the blacks, but both sides did some pretty awful things, so... Favorite and least favorite Targaryen kings? Aegon 1 for favorite, and Aegon 4 for least favorite. Do people give Kevin Lannister a free pass? You know what? I'm one of those people who gives him a free pass. I think lawful neutral Lannisters are really interesting. Favorite and least favorite Free City? I like Braavos, because it's kind of like a cool melting pot of a whole bunch of places. Least favorite? Where's Dario from? Tyrosh? Yeah, let's go with that. Alex Font, do you think Creighton Longbow will have more appearances in the books? Man, Sir Creighton? I think he might win for the most obscure character reference with your question, but maybe we'll run into him again. I could see him joining up with the Brotherhood. Have you read the books from Joe Abercrombie? No, I haven't. I will check them out, though. Stannis is cool. That's not a question, it's a statement. I agree. I fully endorse that statement. OG Sugarcake asked, when did you first learn about the series? You know, it's interesting. I was listening to a Yogscast podcast way back, and I think it was 2010? Anyways, they were interviewing Christian Nairn, who plays Hodor, about the premiere of the show. So, I think that's when I first heard about the series. But after watching, like, the first 1 or 2 episodes of the show, I ran out and bought the books immediately, and I was already onto A Clash of Kings before the 3rd episode even premiered. The Will of G, what is your ideal ending for the books and show? I'd like to see something really transformative. It doesn't even need to be, like, really good or really bad. It just has to be something that makes it so Westeros as a kingdom is never the same again. Do you know what I mean? Justin Luna, why does everyone ignore black-on-black crime? Now, I can only assume that when you say this, Justin, you mean the various mutinies of the Black Brothers within the Night's Watch. And I think most people in the realm don't care about these crimes because they're removed from the events of the Wall, and members of the Night's Watch are often seen as criminals. However, if people of Westeros spent some time at Castle Black, they'd see that there's actually a lot of stand-up citizens there, like, you know, Jon and Sam. Yeah, I mean, I can only assume that that's what you meant, right? And do you think Gendry will be legitimized by Dany? No, I don't. I think that would be an action greatly against her own interest. DGC says, did you like Stannis' death on the show? No, I didn't, DGC. Honestly, I remember after I watched that episode, I went out for like an hour-long walk to calm down. I was pretty mad. Joe Larimore says, will you date me? I love the way you speak. I'm actually recently engaged to a lovely woman. Sorry, man. But I'm glad that you like my voice. You'll be hearing a lot of it if you watch my videos. What is your expectation of Jon's diplomatic trip to Dragonstone? I assume you mean in the show. Oh, I think they'll have trouble getting along at first, and then something will happen and they'll have sex as the wall falls down or something. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I hope it won't be that cheesy, but we'll see. Crimson Knight, would you make a video for Westeros You guys were really restrained with these, actually. I'm proud of you. Will you make a Westeros Brawls on Jon Royce versus Mace Tyrell and Roose Bolton versus Randall Tarley? Let me just read those names again. Jon Royce, Mace Tyrell, Roose Bolton, Randall Tarley. I can promise that all of those people will be making an appearance, although not necessarily in those matchups. Favorite Game of Thrones house, and what are your goals when it comes to YouTube? Well, my favorite Game of Thrones house is Baratheon, of course, and my goals when it comes to YouTube? I don't know, I've always just been really focused on making videos that, you know, make people laugh and that hopefully make people think as well. But on the technical side of things, I'd really like to clone myself 3 times so that there's 3 Danzies working on videos so that I can actually get all the projects done that I want. But no, seriously, on the technical side, I'd really like to improve my audio. I feel like I've hit a cap and I can't get it any better than it currently is, so I'm gonna have to look into that. Stormcloak Grayson, are you mad there's still no Lady Stoneheart? I don't know about mad, I think disappointed is a better word for it. She was a really cool part of the books, so. Horace, who will be the most powerful Stark by the end? Probably Sansa, unless you mean, like, physically powerful, and then probably Bran. What did you do school? Did I do school in music. That's my major. It's kind of ironic, you'd think my sound would be a lot better. Sansa Stark, do you think that young Griff is a real Targaryen or a Blackfire? Oh god, there's a motorcycle going by, just ignore that. Yeah, I think he probably is a Blackfire. There's kind of evidence for it both ways when you think about it. But if he is and that's the case, I feel really bad for John Connington. That poor guy. Next question. Will you eat every fucking chicken in this room? There is currently, like, 20 chicken breasts in my freezer, and that is a lot more than I can eat in one sitting. It would take a braver person than I, YouTube vigilante, so my answer is no, I'm sorry. Jasper Lane says, what is your setup? Well, I could do a whole Danzie reviews, studio tour, and behind-the-scenes video if you guys want to see it. That might be fun. Talking about it all now would probably be a bit much. So without going into all of it now, Jasper, I use a Blue Yeti for my mic. Favorite and least favorite POVs. For favorite, I'd definitely say Theon's A Clash of Kings chapters. I think they're exceptionally well written. Least favorite, I'd probably have to go with Quentin. I'm sorry, buddy. It's not that I dislike Quentin as a character, I don't know, I didn't feel like we needed an entire road trip out to Essos. Who would you want to be king and queen with each spot on the council? Okay, I swear I'm not weaseling out of answering, but I actually want to make a video about this too, so just give me a bit, Adam, and I promise I'll let you know via video at some point. And finally, Will Wazplant says, should I watch the new season? Last season made me want to flip every table I could reach at several points, so I'm honestly just considering sitting it out and waiting for the book. Well, I can definitely sympathize, but I think it's worth watching because it's important to be critical of media. I think the only way we can get the best out of our media is by asking more of it. So whenever there's stuff I don't like on the show, I use it as a way of challenging my brain and asking myself, well, why didn't I like this? Because I think being critical makes you a better media consumer as well. So that's my answer. I think you should still watch it. And I'm here for you. I'll be calling out anything I think is a problem, so there's that at least. And that's all, guys. Thank you very much for watching and for sending in your lovely questions. A special thanks to my patrons, whose support allowed me to buy a new mic stand this week, which means yay, I can finally retire my old one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for the first episode review of the new season. Take care.